This channel creates awareness of medico-legal cases based on the orders of National Consumer Redressal Disputes Commission and the State Consumer Redressal Disputes Commission. The following complaint was given by the complainant. The deceased patient is the wife of the complainant. The patient was examined by a gynecologist, that is opposite party number 1, for gynecological problem. The pathological and ultrasonography tests were done on 19/4/2010 and advised hysterectomy. During assessment, her hemoglobin was 6 grams, BP was 140/100, previously not a hypertensive, and X-ray chest showed cardiomegaly. The patient was admitted and 2 bottles of blood were transfused pre-operatively on 22/4/2010. Hysterectomy was performed on 23/4/2010 through the laparoscopic method. During surgery and thereafter, another 2 bottles of blood were transfused. On 25/4/2010, the patient deteriorated and became unconscious suddenly. She was shifted to a higher center where she expired on 26/4/2010. The cause of death indicated in the death certificate is distributive shock and disseminated intravascular coagulation. Advice of hysterectomy was against usual norms without attempting any alternative medicinal treatment. The advice for surgery was hasty and it was performed in a hurry. Despite the patient having low hemoglobin and high BP, the surgery was undertaken by the gynecologist casually without exercising due diligence. Under the direction of the gynecologist, the hospital staff transfused 1 bottle of infected blood on 25/4/2010 to the patient, which was negligently stored in the hospital refrigerator. Expert opinion, that is medical counsel, demonstrates finally the death of the patient occurred on account of the contaminated blood apart from the other deficiencies. Opposite party's written version. All due care was taken by the hospital and the medicines were prescribed to control high blood pressure. Post-operatively on 24/4/2010, the hemoglobin was 9 grams as per the blood report, and on 25/4/2010 it was 11.3 grams, which was not alarming. Medical counsel report was lacking and assessment without records and cannot be accepted as reliable. The State Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission order. There was clear negligence on the part of the gynecologist and the hospital in transfusing blood that was stored in a routine hospital fridge, and reliance was placed on the medical counsel report to record medical negligence, resulting in deficiency on that count. The State Commission allowed the complaint by directing the gynecologist to pay a sum of rupees 8 lakhs as compensation, with a further liability of rupees 4 lakhs on the hospital on the same count. Appeal before the National Commission. Agreed by the aforesaid orders, both the parties have filed their respective appeals. Appeal by the complainant. For enhancement of the compensation by alleging deficient and disproportionate compensation having been awarded by the State Commission, in spite of the findings of medical negligence against the gynecologist and the hospital. Appeal by the gynecologist. To set aside the impugned order of the State Commission. Arguments advanced by the counsel of the complainant before the National Commission. The gynecologist hurriedly advised the removal of the uterus through surgery without taking any other step for an alternative line of treatment, as there was no serious complication or bleeding to opt for surgery at once. Neither preoperative precautions nor postoperative care were taken as per the medical protocols. According to the medical counsel, the aforesaid negligence worsened when the patient received a transfusion of infected blood that had been kept in the hospital refrigerator for 2 days. Neither any appropriate pre-anesthetic checkup nor any steps were taken to stabilize the patient, whose hemoglobin was considerably low. Hence, the State Commission had failed to award proper compensation despite of negligence being proved. Arguments advanced by the Council of Gynaecologists and the hospital before the National Commission. There was no professional negligence on the part of the gynecologist and the hospital. Medical Council expert opinions before the National Commission. The patient had not been treated in accordance with medical standards, and there was no evidence of bleeding at the time of admission to suggest that surgery was urgently necessary. The medical norms were not followed by not waiting for 24 hours after blood transfusion to ascertain the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. The patient should have been evaluated by the cardiologist and the anesthetist preoperatively. When the patient's BP was 140 by 100, hemoglobin 6 grams, and cardiomegaly, a cardiologist's opinion was mandatory, and a full workup with the hematological point of view should have been done, including PT, APTT, all of which were not done. 2 units of blood were transfused, one after the other, and there were no notes in the records about when the second unit was completed, any adverse reaction, or the value of repeated hemoglobin. Preoperative ultrasonogram report showed a bulky uterus with no evidence of fibroid uterus, and the histopathological examination report also did not find any evidence of other pathology requiring urgent hysterectomy. The operation was hurriedly done without adequate preparation. After transfusion of 4 bottles of blood and after the surgery, the hemoglobin was noted as 9 grams. Therefore, there does not appear to be any justification for blood transfusion, that is 5th unit, and the sequelae of unfortunate events, that is, within few minutes, patient developed signs and symptoms suggestive of acute hemolytic transfusion reaction. It is observed that the packets of blood were brought from the blood bank on 22/4/2010 itself and stored in the hospital refrigerator. Blood should not be stored other than in the blood bank. The hospital sought a report of the blood bag that was transfused, which led to the complications. The report states that the growth of Enterococcus fecalis after 72 hours of incubation. Thus, the treatment rendered is substandard, and flaws in the management have been documented above. The National Commission Order. From the above opinion of the expert, it is evident that the patient was subjected to surgery without considering other options and also not following the appropriate protocol of the preoperative stage and in the process of blood transfusion. A sum of rupees 15 lakhs against a gynecologist and rupees 10 lakhs against a hospital is imposed. The first appeal filed by the gynecologist and the hospital was dismissed for the reason that there was no merit in the appeal. Key conclusions from this case. Unless it's an emergency, no surgery is to be conducted without proper investigations, correction of anemia, and controlling the comorbidity. When necessary, assessment by the proper specialist to be done. In this case, a cardiologist's opinion should have been obtained. While transfusing blood, adverse reactions and treatment thereof should be recorded, and the bag containing the blood should be sent to the lab for any contamination. Blood should be transfused within 30 minutes after receiving it from the blood bank and should be completed within 4 hours. Blood should not be stored in the hospital refrigerator but rather in the blood bank. Postmortem should be done to arrive the exact cause of the death. Thank you for watching the video.